Blade Runner, 1997. This is the most Blade Runner-y coat that I could find. Yeah, it's not quite Rick Deckard. So I found out about this game late last year. I saw a tiny clip of it, and as soon as I saw that, I thought, I have to play this. I have liked point-and-click games in the past. I played Broken Sword, I think was the first one I played. Also, this game has this 90s feel to it, which is when I grew up, so I'm kind of nostalgic for that kind of period. Also, it's Blade Runner, and I love the visuals, the aesthetic, the music, and everything about Blade Runner. I actually probably found out about this game in November 2019, which is kind of spooky. Also, on doing some reading about this game, I discovered that yesterday they announced that they're going to re-release this game for the PlayStation 4 and remaster it, which is kind of strange that I'm doing it today. I've kind of picked the wrong time to do it, but I'm glad I'm going to experience it in its original state before they remaster it and do it all again. I'm expecting some very blocky graphics, FMVs, full motion videos, but I'm thinking it's gonna have a very 90s feel to it, which I think I'm gonna love it. So I know nothing about this game apart from its Blade Runner and apart from the clip that I've seen, and that's kind of the way I like it. So let's go retire some replicants. Here we go. Very true to the film. I'm wondering if it's gonna play into the movie or just be its own thing. This was not called execution, it was called retirement. We're already past that date. It's like a pre-rendering of the movie. That sound.
I'm leaving now.
Lucy, my sweet.
I cleaned out the tiger cage and sorted all the meal bins. So, if it's all right, it's my turn to fix dinner.
Haven't you forgotten something, little one? Just one little thing.
Mr. Runcer, please.
It's been a very long day.
I don't want to.
Now, Lucy, I thought we'd settled this last week. Don't let's forget who pays your salary. We're closed. Come back tomorrow. Wait, I haven't finished with you. I told you we're closed.
We're not here to buy, little man. We've come to sell.
You can't possibly have anything to interest me.
It's gonna kill you.
Extremely rare animals of the highest quality.
What a coincidence. So am I.
That is the price for humility. Please, don't.
And what else might we interest you in today, sir? Perhaps some virtue?
No.
Not my animals. Please, I'm begging you.
I wonder if they're real animals or replicant animals.
But what of honor, little man? At what price? Honor.
Oh my God, no! That tiger is the rarest specimen ever seen.
Tiger, tiger, burning bright. Forest of the night.
They killed the tiger.
Precinct headquarters, code 3. Repeat, code 3.
I was just finishing up my 12 out on patrol when I got the call. Welcome relief, considering that the most action I'd seen all night was a schizoid grandmother doing the shimmy in her underwear in the second sector.
Definitely recreates the atmosphere of the movie.
VR61661, report to division headquarters, code 3. Repeat, code 3.
Last time I had a 3 was when some hooker vomited Thunderbird on Bryant's desk, and yours truly led the cleanup crew. Year and a half on the job, it was still the dirtiest work I'd seen. Where's Captain Bryant?
Took a sick day. Got himself a heinous case of ptomaine poisoning.
This looks familiar.
He asked me personally to run the unit in his absence.
Gouza was one of the old-time guys who took their knocks in the streets. He had a friendly way about him, but you didn't want to turn your back on him if you were less than a friend.
Hope you've been enjoying your leisure time, kid, because it's time to take that thumb out of your ass.
Hallelujah.
Don't get too excited. The other Blade Runners are all jammed up. Holden sucking dinner through a straw. Gaff's working the Tyrell break-in, and Steele's working special undercover. Looks like you got this one by default.
You really know how to make a girl feel wanted.
Animal murder done at Runciter Zoological. Probably just be a schizoid glitz, but we got the call. Old man Runciter lost something like 1 billion Chinyans worth.
10 to 1, this ain't a job for Rep Detect.
You got something better to do? Perfect your French cooking, maybe?
Slumming tonight, Slim?
I thought you were on special assignment.
Wasn't too damn special after I had the suckers out.
What happened?
Couple of fours were masquerading as fibroplast insulators down at Kaiser. I dressed up like a nurse, they never had a chance.
I'll bet. You put them on the machine?
Hell no. There's a beautiful little thing in here called the magic, and it ain't ever been wrong. You develop it, you got a brilliant career ahead of you.
I'm working on it.
What's Gouza got you doing tonight?
AM at Runciter's.
Animal murder. Oh, those skin jobs got no respect for anything that truly lives and breathes. And that goddamn Eldon Tyrell ought to be zipped into a body bag and flushed into deep space.
Get rid of him, we'd be out of a job.
I think we're all overdue for a little off-road paid vacation. You can stop staring at my ass now.
You got eyes in the back of your head?
All you gotta do is ask, Slim.
Well then.
Animal sales was a profitable and prestigious business since most real animals had died out after the Terran War. There were plenty of electric ones, though, powered by rechargeable batteries. No self-respecting human would own one of those frauds.
So there were real animals. That's a shame. So that's it. We're actually in the game now. Very 90s graphics. I love it. Pulled my gun out. Don't have any idea about the controls.
Xin hỏi cái chỗ cảnh sát ở đâu ạ? Tôi rất mong anh đang làm nhanh.
Canvass the area. Maybe somebody had his eyes open.
Ở đâu ạ?
I'm on it.
Cái đồ ăn ở đó rất là ngon. Xin hỏi cái chỗ cảnh sát ở đâu ạ?
What do you know?
About 30 counts of animal murder and 1 of aggravated assault. The shop's been thrashed. You ought to see this tiger cub they got in there. It's a goddamn tragedy.
How's old man Runciter holding up?
State of shock. He's been moaning and complaining about his world caving in.
You'd feel the same way if they were your animals. How many perps?
At least 2 bloody footprints all over the scene.
Must be a delightful sight.
Ông ta đang nhìn mình. Mấy giờ tôi phải tới đó?
Find something?
Piece of chrome.
From a car?
No, I think it's horse chrome. Bag it and tag it.
Cái đồ ăn ở đó rất là ngon.
Ron Sitter's Live Animals. Is that the one that was in the movie?
Hmm. Scratches and paint flecks, and I knew what they meant. Unless the city had bought a jet black fire truck, somebody had a big fat traffic ticket coming.
Tôi rất mong anh đang làm nhanh.
Nothing even remotely interesting, but hell, if I was going to root through trash, my expectations weren't too high.
Rooting through trash is a thing in point and click games. Maybe I should wear more of a shirt than a sweater to make it more Blade Runner-y.
Judging from the distance between the prints, I was looking for 2 very big men. One dragged his right foot, indicating a possible injury or lameness. The other appeared a lot more controlled, graceful even. Quite a pair.
So all these dead animals.
McCoy, LPD.
I'm absolutely certain Lucy Devlin was involved in this heinous act. She's the young girl who works for me.
She's responsible for all this mayhem?
No, of course not. It was 2 men acting in concert with her, obviously.
Obviously. What'd they look like?
Big and scary and absolutely malevolent.
Is that it?
You got any discs from that camera?
It's irrelevant. Those murderers also destroyed the camera. Thousands of Jinyens worth.
Maybe it photographed them before they shot it out.
I guess you've got a point at that. I believe this is the disc from last night.
Thank you. So it's going to be a murder mystery, of course.
I was looking for 2 very big men. One dragged it. Judging from the distance between the prints, I was looking for...
What is this? Polite, normal, slowly. Can I change to surly? What does that do? So does that make me more surly? Let's go with that.
I'm ruined. Totally ruined.
The thing about these old games is they never had that many instructions. You just had to figure it out for yourself. Maybe I'll look at it back at the station or something.
It didn't add up. Animal murders, the lack of any theft. The small animals alone were worth a good chunk of change on the street. It seemed more like an act of vengeance. Find anything else out here?
This guy lives across the street. Says he heard a crash late last night. Looked out his window and saw a black sedan speeding away from the scene.
Xin hỏi cái chỗ cảnh sát ở đâu ạ?
Canvass the area. Maybe somebody had his eyes open.
I'm on it.
Mấy giờ tôi phải tới đó đó? Ông đó đang nhìn mình.
That's another thing about point and click games. There's a lot of just scouring the area looking for something to be clicked on. So let's have a look at this video back at the station. Hurt my shoulder the other day. Wish I was a replicant. Oh wow.
Lockup. Ground floor. Mainframe and shooting range. Laboratory. Roof.
Let's go to the laboratory.
Got anything new for me, Dino?
I was wondering when you'd show your mug around here, McCoy. We got the animal corpses from Runcitors, but there wasn't a whole lot to work with.
Bone marrow?
About 50% were real, the rest were fakes.
So, Runciter was ripping his customers off.
State-of-the-art fakes. Miles beyond the crap you see on Animoid Row.
The kind that comes from legit manufacturers?
And they're the ones that usually produce the quality.
What about the wounds?
Most of them were shot point blank, but we're looking at some others. Sloppy cuts with a knife, like the perp was really pissed off at something.
Butcher knife?
Could be, but who cuts meat anymore?
Nice bunch of reps I'm tailing. Hope you're not pulling a meat cleaver out of my back next week.
I wonder, was that our surly response? User choice. Let's go for that one.
Mainframe and shooting range. Ground floor. Lockup.
So where's our office, I wonder?
Frame and shooting range.
The Tyrell Corporation today recalled the last 4 functioning entertainment model Nexus 5 replicants from Off-World Service. Dr. Eldon Tyrell, speaking at a shareholders meeting, denied allegations that the model was defective and possibly dangerous.
The simple fact is that the model wasn't performing its designated function. There was one isolated incident of violence a couple of years ago, but the individual unit in question was immediately retired from service. No, the problem is far from anything sinister. The entertainment model just isn't funny.
So Tyrell is still alive in this game.
Old copies of case files, notices, and memos. The usual station junk. Lucky Strikes. Crystal's brand. I knew she was spending a lot of time in the training maze these days, even though she'd already gotten close to a perfect score.
Well, if it ain't Ray McCoy. Brian finally letting you play with the big boys.
My clearance come through?
You bet. You bring your piece?
Don't leave home without it.
Steele's been running the maze every other day for 2 weeks, and the targets are getting a little roughed up.
I thought Guza was going to requisition some new ones.
I ain't seen him down here in a month. Guess he's been busy.
Poor guy. I bet he gets all tuckered out from pushing those papers around.
And don't sell him short, McCoy. Guza could be one tough hombre. I remember when we worked mice together. He poured acetone on 2 pimps that gave us some lip and lit a match. I'll tell you, it looked like the goddamn 4th of July out there.
Peachy.
Hilarious.
You keeping busy, pal?
Nah, the place.
So we're gonna practice our shooting.
I guess there ain't no harm in it.
Target and shoot all threats. Do
Okay.
not shoot innocents. Confirm target as hostile before shooting.
It's gonna have elements of shooting in it, which I don't think I've ever played a point-and-click game like that. Do I have ammo? So I wonder how they're going to improve on this when they remake it.
Proceed to next station.
They could make such a good Blade Runner game if they just made a new one with modern technology and writing. Hoping to have an accuracy point after this. I don't think it would be very high. What did I get? That's bad. I'm not a good Blade Runner. This was a very 90s thing, the whole kind of pre-rendered background with a small character walking along. This reminds me of Final Fantasy, this kind of thing. Even though the graphics aren't the best, it still looks really nice. Like, you get the sense of the scale of the station. You got some light coming in through here. Here's the man.
Sorry to bother you, Lieutenant. I was just checking in.
We'll get back out there. Those reps ain't retiring themselves.
Yeah, suicidal targets would make my job a lot easier.
Everybody's got a job.
You can say that again. So yeah, a modern day Blade Runner game would be amazing. Just think of the story, the graphics, the way they could have. It could be like Grand Theft Auto basically, only in the Blade Runner world. And then you think about Mass Effect, you could have conversation wheels and choices and stuff like that. I will say that I'm glad Blade Runner hasn't had too many things made about it, because I think when you make too much about something, it kind of ruins the allure. Kind of like Star Wars. It hasn't been overdone at all. It just has you wanting more, which is good.
Are they letting me out?
I'm not the one who makes that decision.
Who the hell are you?
Suppose it's my turn to bear the cross for the cause.
Can't shoot him. So I guess we can go back to our apartment. I do wonder where this fits in the Blade Runner world. One thing's for sure, our apartment's going to look really cool. Look at that. Look at the light on that. Very nice.
Your floor number, please.
Apartments. Roof. Apartments. Ground floor.
McCoy,
There's one button for me.
Thank you.
I lived with the best gal I'd ever seen.
It's got a dog.
She's 2 now and full of life and love. She'd cost me about a year's salary, but she was worth it. It was good to have someone warm nearby after completing a dirty job, and the retirement swag from this case would go toward getting her a partner.
Oh.
Maggie, come here, girl. Good doggy.
So it looks like our character McCoy is more in keeping with the character from the Philip K. Dick book, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Because I know the character in that book had a dream of owning a sheep, I think. A real sheep. I didn't read all of it. I kind of stopped halfway through. So maybe this is based more on the book.
Here you go, baby. Dinner time. Here you go, baby. Dinner time.
Let's keep feeding the dog.
Scanning video disk. 2 enhanceable images found.
The enhanced part.
Adding enhanceable photographs to Kaya database. Run sitter crime scene.
Wow, that is like... This is pretty advanced for the time that it was made. And also it's really true to the actual movie. But I feel like this is really... Being able to do this and zoom in is really advanced for whenever this came out, 1997. Wonder what exactly it is that we're looking for. I love the sounds. Huh.
He looks familiar. Give me a hard copy of that.
The hard copies. Yeah, this feels really cool. It feels like you're being an actual Blade Runner. All the sounds are authentic. The environments. So I'm guessing I've got the hard copy already. Ooh, nice. Oh, a dingy little apartment.
Violent street crime in the city rose again last year by a whopping 26%, according to the latest figures from the Department of Justice. Governor Kolvig attributed the change to the dramatic increase in the number of specials registered as city residents and promised a tough new set of standards for the City Immigration Bureau by next month.
Is that a toilet? Sounds like he went to take a pee. And then we've got the balcony. The music. Might just sit here for a while and listen to this. I would love it if they did a modern day Blade Runner game. Sounds like an original version of the song.